Hello and welcome again to another episode of Nerf News, your number one source for Nerf news on the net. I'm your host, Funky Hat, and today we're talking about a lot of different stuff. We've got blaster leaks, we've got blaster spoilers, intentional and unintentional, and we've got some press releases to talk about. And we do, of course, have to do a quick debrief on HVZ End War, our hobby's #1 event. It was super spectacular, it was crazy awesome, and while I wanted to wear the super funky limited edition Foam Blast hat because I got a haircut and it makes me look like a cockatoo, I can't. Do you want to know why? Well, I'll show you. So guess what happens when we get rid of the background, guys? That's right, the hat makes a bunch of stuff really choppy, so we're going to go ahead and lose the hat. Our hair will come back in super funky tuft form, and here we go. So let's talk about this. This is of course leaked today. This is an official press release from Hasbro. This is them talking about this blaster, and we've got all the deets at the end, so we'll talk about the pictures first. So clearly some LED action. This is the Soldier 76 rifle from Overwatch. Is this going to be an ammo counter? Almost certainly not. This is an LED indicator of primed or ready or on or good to go. Interestingly enough, this is a high-resolution photo that they chose to send to all influencers, yet has a seam here clearly showing that like the flash on this this injection mold is like, I don't know, I mean, it's very nitpicky. This is a super amazing cosplay blaster. We've got the cables and the conduits coming around. Our model here may be possibly poorly chosen. Obviously, one-size-fits-all masks will not fit all, but this is humongous. This is gargantuan on this guy, and it doesn't get any subtler. Like, you can see just how comically oversized that is. Now, maybe that's them going for a cartoony look, but a little bit silly in my opinion. Now, the Reaper mask I thought was actually quite good. Personal biases aside, I do like the character Reaper far more than I like the character Soldier 76, but here we are. So this appears to be some sort of flash of light. Probably will integrate with the light and sounds. Hopefully it will, but unfortunately is not a missile launcher. Now, I actually know part of the Overwatch team that was working on developing this blaster, and I can tell you that at one point there were considerations for doing an old school Guru. There was a point where we were strongly considering doing a Demolisher rocket launcher kind of thing underneath, which I thought would be amazing, but this is my first time seeing actual production blaster for the Soldier 76 rifle. So you can see here, we are shooting rival rounds. It is motorized, and it's also quite large. Now, Soldier 76's rifle in the game is quite large, so that is all accurate. The stock seems comically short, but again, in the game, that's how it is. So is what it is. You gotta split the difference between being as accurate to game as possible and simultaneously being a functional blaster. Now, the deco on it honestly looks a little bit light. I think that they could have done a lot more, but this just means that painters and cosplayers and everything will be able to skin it however they want to. When we talk about the price, that's going to seem like a little bit of a detractor, but so anyway, here we have the rival Overwatch Soldier 76 targeting blaster. Should be available in fall 2009. We're going to hit all the important details first. Standard rival performance here at 90 feet per second. Then we have comes with 30 rounds, requires 6D batteries, which means since they're not included that it's going to be just, and I mean, this is a real step back. Actually, like, blasters this expensive, we started spooling up. Hasbro was getting better. They were including rechargeable batteries. They realized that that's something that the market really enjoys and appreciates, and while this does have like electronic lights and some sort of mechanical, I'm assuming, recoil action, this is basically a Zeus, or I'm sorry, does it say if it's full auto or not? It should be. Yeah, fully motorized rapid fire, which is code word for full auto. So it should be full auto and 30 round onboard capacity, which I'm hoping works with some sort of really sexy internal magazine a la Chronos. However, so pardon me, it's a Chaos. Now, a Chaos these days, and we can even check on Amazon in a minute, but a Chaos these days is quite inexpensive. Full auto rival is nothing ridiculously special at this point. It can be as compact as a Jupiter or as large as you want to make it, and this is costing $131. Now that blows me away. First off, why is it not $129.99? I don't know. It seems very interesting to feel like you have to tack that extra dollar onto the tail end of this bad boy, but this is the most expensive rival blaster other than the Prometheus that we've seen, and the Prometheus delivers the hits. The Prometheus is $200 rounds of onboard capacity. The Prometheus gives you a rechargeable battery that lets you stay in the game, no extra purchase required, and it'll just fire constantly, high rate of fire for a very long time. So I think that that's the closest direct comparison. If not that, then we could take a look at the upcoming Perseus, which is 50 rounds of onboard capacity, super easy to reload. And this might work that way. Like if I wanted to have an internal magazine, but I imagine with 30 rounds of capacity, it's going to have a tray like the Perseus with a conveyor belt like the Chaos to fire. So that's all rampant speculation. I'm not saying what it will do, I'm saying what I think it's going to do. But given that this is a formal press release, I can speculate and talk about it and give you my thoughts. So Soldier 76's rifle is full auto, but $131 plus the batteries is putting you closer to about $145 is mind-boggling to me. Now for the Overwatch fan, of course, no expense can be spared. They're willing to pay money for loot boxes, so I'm sure they'll be willing to pay money for IRL loot boxes. However, tacking on a visor, which admittedly looks good. Some people would pay this amount of money just for this visor on Etsy, but there have been significantly cheaper costume versions of the visor, and while I think that if it's anything like the Reaper visor, it will be quite good, and certainly beats getting a little plasticky die-cast McCree badge, this is pretty price gougy. Like, I hate to put it into those terms, but $131 is a lot. Now, I will give you a full review, and if it's absolutely sweet, if it's super duper dope, then so be it. They're also still partnering exclusively with GameStop to launch it, and that is funky because they're saying what it should cost is $131, but like I mentioned, GameStop's taking it right back down to $129.99. Now, the good news is that GameStop is notorious for like not selling their overpriced, overhyped exclusives and then dropping them to like 50% very shortly afterwards. So I think that if you really want this and you have a little bit of patience, you should be in good shape. So that is the Soldier 76 Rival Blaster kind of leak and speculation. I would never pay $130 for it, but I mean, I would in the context of my channel, if that makes sense, because I absolutely want to review it and I want to paint it and I want to mod it and I want to make it ultra mega level sweet. I think that it could be a really cool cosplay blaster with built-in LED panels and all sorts of sweet integration potential. However, for the average nerfer, I think this one's probably a pass. Wait on that Perseus. It's definitely the best blaster that has been revealed so far this year, period, bar none. And then for the Overwatch fan, you do you, my man. Like, if you've got a crazy awesome Soldier 76 cosplay and you need this to bring it home, then absolutely. Then I want to do our next piece of nerf speculation here, and I'm going to only briefly touch on it because, and honestly, I'm not even sure why I'm doing it at this point, but I have agreed with Hasbro to not talk about things that have not been released. However, the name has been released by Hasbro's retailers. There's something coming. It's called Alpha Strike. It should be huge. Retailers have leaked that there are a ton of different SKUs for it, which is to say that there are going to be a lot of items on the shelf for it, and it's yet otherwise unheard of, unreleased, no talk of it at Toy Fair, no whispers, no echoes. There have been some photos leaked, but I'm not going to share those. This is just basic Nerf wiki. Something called the Tiger, something called the Wolf, something called the Lynx and the Stinger, and then interestingly enough, there is something called the Fang out there. Golly gee, what could that be? Very interesting. Can't wait to talk more about that. I think that we'll have some news on it pretty soon, but I know nothing, so I will say nothing, and we can move right on along. So that's Overwatch, and this now, in a completely separate vein, a company that was more than happy to not only attend and support HVZ End War by bringing out actual company employees and setting up an actual booth at FoamCon, the largest gathering of our space hobby industry, etc., a very focused gathering of like-minded individuals. Dart Zone came out, and they made it happen. So let's. I wonder if they'll let me put in my actual age. And this should be at least 13 years. So luckily, vampires are allowed in the Dart Zone sign up, and it looks like in 18 days we will have something called Dart Zone Pro. Now, I talked with them because they did attend FoamCon about this. They were not displaying anything about this at Toy Fair, so I really don't know anything. I have none of the details. So I talked to this company while they were at FoamCon, and I was super duper excited, ridiculously stoked to try and get some secrets, glean some insight into what Dart Zone Pro could possibly be. They have a hashtag, it's hashtag only1pro, which reminds me of the same sort of chest beating that it's Nerf or nothing has always been, and it just seems ridiculously cool and it's very exciting. But they were very, very tight-lipped, and I don't know what we should expect. We've got a targeting reticle, we've got a logo, we've got an 18-day countdown, which is very, very exciting. I'm gonna go ahead and plug in my email, hit subscribe, agree to, because I want more information, and now we've got some exclusive content available. The website shows us this, and we can just watch together, guys. Let's see what we got.
We're really excited. We just got the prototype in demand. This thing is impressive. We can't show you the blaster yet. We do want to go ahead and give you a sneak peek of the performance of the chronograph.
Okay, so I have watched this video before, and I want to touch on something that's very important that you might have missed there. So first off, this is the same chronograph that Nerfers use, which is very interesting. It tells us something that we've known for a long time due to the just superior ammo that these guys have been putting out. I think that they're actually paying attention to us, and that's not a secret. Like, they came to FoamCon. No company has ever come to FoamCon before. Like, Dart Zone clearly cares about the enthusiast market, which is just completely awesome and amazing. Bunker has supported FoamCon in the past, and then Zuru in the form of X-Shot has supported, but they actually did not come personally. They hired a third party to come and present and display their products there, which makes sense. Like, I think that they are very, very far away, Zuru being a Hong Kong-based New Zealand sort of company. Like, it makes sense that it wasn't as easy for them to visit, but Dart Zone came for their second year ever this year, and they were taking signups and showing sneak peeks like this. But the thing that I want to mention, other than the fact that they're using a standard like chronograph that Nerfers tend to use, is, did you hear that? We're going to back up, actually. I want you guys to listen. My voice is still gone from End War, guys. Is it a shotgun? I don't know. Like, it's either a shotgun or pump action or something. I mean, that sounds very much like a shotgun cocking noise. So we're learning instantly that whatever this is, it is probably not electronically powered. It's probably a manual, which means either a stringer or springer. So let's go. 147, 149, 151. Phase out 150 FPS with a prototype. High production value on this video tells you that they're not messing around. And we've never really had anything like this. Like, with the exception of maybe Gear Up. Now, Gear Up was a real tease. Like, Gear Up was exciting. Gear Up was like, we're sneaking ammo for something cool that we haven't talked about yet into product packaging, and it could be something exciting. Like, that's pretty neat, I think. This is clearly like a teaser. I like it a lot. It gives me something to make Nerf news about. So there's something else that he just said there, which is interesting. In that last video, they were demonstrating clearly one blaster, which I think is a shotgun. He just said series. So series is interesting because companies have production cycles, obviously, and so series means that there will be more than one of whatever this is.
It's innovative, and soon you will have the chance to make it your own. This is an exclusive, limited edition, and will be available for purchase only on DartZoneBlasters.com. Information on pre-order dates coming soon. But first,
I assume that that's the coming soon is this countdown, and it's interesting that it's only on their website. That is probably how they're getting away with that kind of performance, to be completely honest. I don't know what the rules are specifically in terms of how the TFA regulates or blah blah blahs, but this is interesting. It's very interesting that it'll be an online exclusive. It's starting to remind me a little bit of Jet Blasters, except the difference is that Jet Blasters doesn't ship the things that it tells you it's going to, and I assume that these people have their act together, given that they have this full lead-up, gear-up style-esque.
First, subscribe to the link provided for a closer look each week as we bring Dart Blaster design, power, and accuracy to a whole new level. The countdown is on. Hope to see you there.
Just as a fun aside, and I know that this sounds silly, I have no idea who this dude is. I've been going to Toy Fair for years. I've been in this industry for a long time. I legitimately, like, I know pretty much every person in the Hasbro showroom at this point, like, by name. Like, I would consider even a couple of them to be my friends, like people who present blasters professionally. I have no idea who this dude is. I don't know. It's kind of funny. So then we've got this 10-second teaser, and honestly, I have no idea what this is. It looks almost like a kitchen tool to me. This is like a knurling and vents. I don't know if that's machined or what. It looks almost like a rifle bolt to me, and I hate to draw the real steel allegory there, but this is way more exciting to me than the Overwatch blaster or even Alpha Strike, because if Alpha Strike was this exciting, they'd be doing a gear up campaign for it. Whatever this is, I don't know. We'll touch base in a future Nerf News episode. Maybe we'll even do a countdown on Twitch together, because we haven't had anything like this. Like, I've never counted down my personal subscribers. I've counted down my personal Kickstarters. I've counted down for Kickstarter launch before. Speaking of which, Tooth and Nail Mini was fully funded. They were fully produced. They have been manufactured. They are phenomenal. They've been tested. They are already in blasters. They killed it at the Foam Pro Tour in some people's blasters. Like, just very, very proud of that project. Super grateful to all the backers. Surveys will be going out tomorrow-ish. But I had to take a day to get my voice back. I had to take a day to recover from End War, and I guess that's where we can go next with this. Is just thank you from the bottom of my my unbeating undead heart. Thank you so much. HVZ End War was a rousing success. I had a lot of people tell me best year yet. You guys have no idea how much that means to me. I didn't understand, despite the fact that I'm majorly involved in a convention down here in the South called Dragon Con. I had no idea how much work it was to, like, run your own convention, run your own event, run your own tournament, build your own sport, until it just, this is, I like to think of it as the 4th year of End War, but on paper at least it is only the 3rd year. It's the 4th year of, like, organizing something like this, truly, certainly, and it's become almost a full-time job on top of a full-time job, and it is so incredibly rewarding to have over 900 confirmed players come to your event, and everybody walks away. And I'm going to put out official feedback because I know that you'll get your negative feedback anonymously before you ever get it in person, but everybody walked away. Everybody told me that they had an amazing time. A lot of people have told me that this has become their summer tradition, and just there are no words. There's nothing I could possibly say publicly on my channel without, like, tearing up to express the immense gratitude that myself and the rest of the End War team have. Thank you for trusting us with your travel plans. Thank you for trusting us with your weekend. Like, thank you so much for coming, being amazing sports, having an amazing time, and sharing in the incredible tapestry that is our hobby, and adding your stories to ours and making just a wonderful experience for all Nerfers everywhere. If you couldn't make it this year, I hope that it's closer to you next year. The purpose of End War is to travel year to year. Next year, we are going to be at Penn State for End War, which should be easier in travel ways for a lot of people. And I hope that we continue to grow and expand. And all I can do is promise you the absolute dedication of myself and my team. We are ultra committed to bringing you that experience in the best way we possibly can, in the safest way that we possibly can, and elevating it year to year, every year for you guys. So if you bought a patch, thank you so much. If you drove, thank you so much. If you flew, crazy insane. For the dozen of you guys that got passports to come to End War this year, just there are no words. Thank you so much for supporting End War. Thank you for making an amazing event. If you guys have questions or comments, I will be in the comment section of this video with everything from rampant speculation about what is Dart Zone Pro, what do you think the next Overwatch blaster will be? It's gonna be Tracer's pistols. And what do we think that Alpha Strike could possibly be? Do we think that it'll be a completely new segment? Or do we think that it's going to be a bunch of reskins of blasters from the pastors? Anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you tuning into this episode of Nerf News. And as always, much love, Nerf on Drek out.